Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I want to talk about how Ash will react to Carol's lie about Sophia. I want to get into that, and I also want to get into everyone's thoughts, just sort of in general, I would say, for the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2, because I've been seeing a lot of reactions online, and I will say most of it is positive, but there's also this one aspect to the show right now that just seems to be getting really, I guess, poorly reviewed right now, and yeah, I want to get into that. So before going further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. This will obviously contain spoilers for the episode, but I'm sure you guys are all aware of that. I don't think I really have to warn for spoilers for episode 1, but it is October now, so it's officially Halloween month, right? And there's a lot to look forward to here for this month for The Walking Dead, because we're actually going to have Comic-Con and also Palais Fest around the 18th and 19th of October. So that's really exciting. I think that happens right before episode 4 as well, which episode 4 is supposed to be a really big episode. I think episodes 4 and 6 are supposed to be the biggest episodes this season. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, I just wonder what they're going to announce at Comic-Con this month, because I think they could announce quite a bit, honestly, or at least I think they could make a big announcement regarding Rick and Michonne, or at least they could give a big update, right? So I'm really looking forward to that, because I think that because Scott Gimple missed Comic-Con, I think now would probably be a really good time to sort of announce something like that. But we are going to get like a teaser and whatnot for Dead City Season 2 as well. So there's going to be a lot to talk about around then. But again, right now the focus seems to be on a lot of what happened in episode 1 and also episode 2 as well. So I do want to talk about that. So how is Ash going to react to Carol's lie? Personally, for me, I think that he likely will react, I guess, probably in a bad way to it. I think that that's sort of what the story needs anyways. I think that, I mean, it depends on the circumstances, obviously. Like, I think if he's a big part of the season, then maybe there's more of an understanding there. But I think if he just reacted to it and was just like, oh, you know, well, at least you found Daryl, you know, like that's still really good. I think fans would also be really upset about that, because it's just like, wait, what? Like, you're literally just forgiving Carol for everything that she did. Like, she brought you over here, this and that. I think the best thing that Ash could do, honestly, is literally just leave. Just be like, you know what? Like, that's really upsetting. I can't believe you would tell a lie like that, and then just leave, right? And that is one aspect to this that I've been seeing a lot. And so first of all, I will say, in terms of all the reviews, it's really hard to sort of look at all the reviews, because, I mean, the one thing that I will say is, like, you know, is this season getting like crazy positive reviews? Well, no. Is it getting very negative reviews? No. It's kind of honestly like both. Like, it is very mixed, but it is leaning more positive. And a lot of the negative reviews seem to really be coming from a lot of the, you know, Daryl and Carol stuff, which I'm not even going to really get into that, because that's just kind of, to me, I just find it really ridiculous. But it seems to be really that aspect to it. And so just in general, there's that side to it. But also, the one thing that I learned after watching episode 1 was that a lot of people didn't like the fact that Carol lied to Ash. And personally, for me, I honestly, like I was shocked when she said that, but some people are very upset about it. And honestly, like, that to me is who Carol is. Like, Carol has never been the most likable character all the time. Like, she's always done things like this. Like, that's the thing. If you just look back throughout the series, Carol has always done things like this. And also, a lot of people were really worried that, you know, Carol being in the story now is going to completely erase the story of season 1. No, obviously not. Like, the focus of episode 1 was to introduce Carol to the story. Episode 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're going to have Carol and Daryl in it a lot more. Or I should say, you're going to have Daryl in it a lot more. It's going to be more like 50-50. You're going to see Daryl there. Once Carol and Daryl reunite in, like, what, episode 3, 4? I don't think it's going to be in 2. Just because I think that she's going to get to France in episode 2, and then I think that there should be a story there with Madame Janae. At least we see that in the trailer, so I think that'll happen in 3, and then maybe, you know, there's some sort of reunion that happens in 3 or like in 4. And then at that point, you have the characters together, and then the rest of the season is just about those characters. But the story is very much going to be about the France storyline, but obviously you needed to explain how Carol got to France. Like, imagine if Carol just showed up randomly and we never got any sort of explanation. Like, people would complain about that as well. So to me, if anything, this is more of a complaint about the fact that there's only 6 episodes. There should definitely be 8 or at least 10 episodes. And that, I think, would erase a lot of the concern here. I think people just want more episodes to watch, because you want them to take their time and go through a lot of the story here, you know, just and go way more in depth on a lot of stuff. But the spinoffs so far have been, I would say, overall pretty rushed. Though seasons 1 of Dead City and Daryl Dixon, I think, did it well overall, but still, it did feel very rushed. Like, there were still some aspects of the season that I think they should have explored a little bit more. But again, Dead City is getting 8 episodes, and so I think that is AMC testing that out, right? Like, that's them testing out, like, will 8 episodes work? Is that what fans really want? And so the focus on Carol for this episode, I really, honestly, I thought was fine. Like, I think that Obviously, Carol's a big character. You do need to focus more on her. Again, if this was 8 episodes for season 2, I think maybe you should have focused on Carol in episode 2, right? And then in episode 1, maybe it's more of a focus on Daryl. You have some sort of story there at the nest and some stuff happening there. This way, everyone's sort of caught up with the story and you're more focused on what the actual storyline in France is going to be for the season. And then maybe at the very end of episode 1, you see some sort of Carol teaser. And then what we got in episode 1 here would have been that episode 2 with maybe Daryl not being in the episode. And then in episode 3 would just be where episode 2 would start, right? Like, I just feel like, again, having more episodes would fix that, right? And so going back to the original point, I think that Carol lying, again, I really don't see that being an issue overall. Carol has done this all the time. She lied about Karen and David. I mean, she literally killed Karen and David. She let Negan out of the cell, right? And I'm trying to think of other things that she's done, but there's been a lot of things that she's done over the years. And again, everyone's always disagreed with her. Like, I think that she's always made decisions like this. And I think that's what makes the Walking Dead characters great, is they're not all heroes. Like, some of them are kind of more in the gray area, right? Like, they're heroes, but they're kind of villains in a way. You could see them as villains. And I think Carol is kind of like that a little bit. She will do whatever she has to get what she wants, you know, in order to survive. And that's why she let Negan out of the cell, right? Like, she didn't really care about the fact that, yeah, he did kill Glenn and Abraham. It was more like, well, I want him to help us, you know, defeat the Whispers and whatnot. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get the complaints, I guess. Like, I do understand it. But to me personally, it's just, I mean, that's who Carol has been the whole time. So as shocked as I was when I first heard the scene, I also kind of got it. Like, it made sense. And so I think the way that you handle this, where I think a lot of people would understand, or at least I guess sort of forgive Carol for lying to Ash, is if you do make Ash's reaction sort of what all of our reactions were. Like, he is just very shocked about it. He gets very angry about it. And then, I mean, hopefully it doesn't result in his death. I think that would be kind of upsetting because, again, I really do like Ash as a character. I think that that's where you can really honestly, you know, make Ash a really great character. And hopefully he is in season 3. I think that would be really awesome. And then I don't even know where you would go there. I mean, maybe eventually Ash does forgive Carol, but maybe he doesn't. But then a lot of us maybe will just side with Ash for a little bit, you know, instead of Carol. I mean, if you just look back to, you know, the Karen and David situation, you know, when Rick told Carol to leave, right? Like, it was definitely very hard to watch, but I also kind of got it. I was just like, yeah, well, Carol doing that, like, there was definitely a better way to do that. And so I kind of understood why Rick did what he did. But I also think a lot of people, you know, were mad at Rick as well. Like, why are you doing that? This makes no sense. You know, Daryl was very upset with Rick as well. You want moments like this with your characters. You do. And that's what Carol did, right? I think where this could be an issue, though, is how Ash reacts to everything just entirely. I think that if Ash just forgives her, then I think a lot of people will be upset, right? So I hope that Ash does get very upset about the whole thing, because obviously it is kind of insane for Carol to lie about such a thing and to bring him all the way over here, and then, you know, she's not even here at all. Like, yes, she is finding Daryl, but you just have to have Ash, you know, get upset about it. And then I think that's where a lot of people are going to understand the storyline overall. And yeah, you know, I think overall, I think Ash's reaction, I think, should be that. I think that he will get very upset about it. And then I don't know if there's ever going to be a moment where he does forgive her, or maybe he does, but like, what if he just leaves? What if he's just very upset about it? And then Carol's like, well, you know, I'm sorry, I had to find Daryl, this and that. Like, you would understand that, right? And then maybe he just doesn't at all. He's just like, no, or whatever. And then he leaves. He takes the plane and then he leaves. Or maybe the plane just gets destroyed. And so there's really, I mean, that would honestly be worse. Like, I don't even mean worse in terms of a story, but like if the plane gets destroyed and so now Ash can't get back home, and then he finds out about Carol and her lie about everything, like, then I really want Ash to almost, I don't want to say become the villain, but don't forgive Carol at that point, because if somehow you do, then there would be issues, and then yeah, I'll obviously do a rant about it, because I would just be very upset about that. That makes no sense. You should not forgive Carol for that, like, at all. And so yeah, definitely post your thoughts down below on how you think Ash is going to react to the whole situation. In terms of, you know, the overall reviews for the season, again, I was saying that a lot of it is very positive, and the negative reviews, like, it's honestly so hard to just sort of look through all of it. I feel like I should do a review just of the reviews, because when you're looking at the reviews on like Rotten Tomato and all of that, like, everything so far is the same as season 1. But at first it wasn't, you know. But also, if you're looking at the reviews, it's all pretty extreme. Like, it's either 1 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. There's nothing where it's like, oh, I thought it was a 3 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5, right? It's all either 5 out of 5, it was a masterpiece, or 1 out of 5, it was a horrible, horrible season, right? Like, I just feel like the reactions out there right now are just absolutely insane. And that's why I think that that, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I think episode 2 should fix a lot of that. If we do see a lot more focus on the France storyline, you know, I do think that Daryl's going to be a big part of the episode, then I think fans should like the season overall. I do think the concerns right now, I think like the real legit concern right now for the season is that the France storyline isn't going to be focused on too much, and it's mostly going to be about Carol. Because everyone liked, you know, what they set up in season 1 with Daryl, Isabel, Laurent, and the nest and whatnot. So I do think in episode 2, we're going to see a lot more focus there. Again, episode 1 was just, you had to focus on Carol and how she got to France. Like, you needed to explain that. I think a solution to this, though, should have been more that season 2 should have been at least 8 episodes or 10 episodes. And then I think the premiere episode should have just been more focused on Daryl. Maybe you had some Carol scenes in there as well, but more just focused on the France storyline and whatnot, so that people sort of know, you know, where the story is and everything. And then in episode 2, that would be episode 1. And then episode 3 would be, you know, episode 2 that we're getting coming up here. So yeah, you know, my solutions to a lot of the, you know, complaints that I've been seeing is that we need more episodes. Like The Walking Dead, and I really should just do a video on it. Like, I always mention it in like videos here and there. I should just do a video just literally titled like, we need more episodes per season of The Walking Dead, because a lot of the complaints that I've seen so far about the spin-offs really would be solved if we had an extra 2 or like 4 episodes, right? Like, you just need to focus more on the story a little bit. Maybe, you know, they don't do that because the budget is so high now per episode. Honestly, I'd be okay with them lowering the budget a little bit. Like, maybe the issue now is that The Walking Dead's budget is too high per episode. Like, before it was too low, now it's way too high. Like, maybe lower it a little bit to add more episodes to the season. Just to focus a little bit more on characters, to have more scenes where characters are just talking about stuff, to sort of explain things a little bit more, and to live in the moment. Because honestly, a lot of that, like, I just look at The Ones Who Live, like, an extra episode just to have them talking about whatever. I mean, to explain a little bit more, to have more of an epilogue scene at the very end of The Ones Who Live could have been really amazing, you know, like Rick mentioning Daryl at all, just anything, like an extra episode or 2, 8 episodes, like that's it, just 8 episodes. That's half of what you were doing before with The Walking Dead. That would work really well. And then, you know, with the shows you have out right now, it would basically be like The Walking Dead is still here, right? Like, you have 8 episodes airing in the fall, 8 episodes airing in the, I guess, late winter, early spring or whatever, right? Like, you would have Daryl Dixon in the fall, Dead City in the spring. So that's 16 episodes overall, and then maybe you announce a spinoff for the summer or something. But that to me works really well and would solve a lot of this, right? So yeah, but I really enjoyed episode 1. I'm really looking forward to episode 2 here, and yeah, I can't wait. 5 more days. Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.